Good afternoon, this is Sean Golden with Golding & Golding, here to discuss one of the better IRS programs out of all the horrific things the IRS does. They have created the Streamlined Foreign Offshore Procedures, otherwise known as the Expat Streamlined Program, which is a great program for people who are non-compliant with U.S. tax and offshore reporting because it lets you file original returns and it waives all penalties. You can still claim the foreign earned income exclusion and foreign tax credit, so at the end of the day, you may not have any tax liability. The Expat Streamlined Program is another term for Streamlined Foreign Offshore Procedures. If a taxpayer is non-willful, and there is no bright line test for non-willful, it's essentially a totality of the circumstance test. Yes, they have willfulness and lower levels of willfulness such as reckless disregard and willful blindness, but just because you have 20/20 hindsight doesn't mean you fall into one of those categories. You should speak with a board certified specialist, go over the different factors, get an idea where you fall on that spectrum. The program applies to U.S. persons, which means U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents, and foreign nationals who meet the substantial presence test and may not qualify for one of the exceptions or exclusions. In order to qualify for the program, it depends on whether you're a U.S. person, as a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, technically lawful permanent resident, or a foreign national with the substantial presence test. If you're a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, then you have to show you've lived outside of the country for at least 330 days in any one of the tax years within the compliance period. If you are only a U.S. person because you met the substantial presence test, then you have to show that you did not meet the substantial presence test in at least one of those 3 years. Okay. It's one of the better programs around, and the reason why is the following. There's no penalties. So under their voluntary disclosure program, VDP, it's normally a 50% penalty unless you can negotiate that down. If you do streamlined domestic, it's a 5% penalty. If you get stuck in an audit, it could be anywhere from $10,000 per account to $10,000 per account per year, just depending on who you get and how much they dislike you. But under this program, there's no penalties, okay? And you can file the original returns for those years. Under streamlined domestic, you have to do amended returns. In addition, you can claim the foreign earned income exclusion and foreign tax credit. So for many of our clients, high income earners, high income earners, at the end of the day, they may not owe anything. So if there's no penalty and no taxes due, then it's a good program and much better than the quiet disclosure, okay? A lot of times online, you'll see things like quiet disclosure. What does that mean? What that means is instead of going through one of the accepted programs, you go, you know what? I'm just going to go back and either submit a whole bunch of prior year returns or I'm just going to start filing forward. Bad idea, okay? Especially if you qualify for the Expat Streamlined Program. Why? Because there's no penalty. I'm going to keep hitting that home because if you do quiet disclosure, you're risking a lot of things. One, you're taking something which is non-willful, okay? In order to do streamlined, you have to be non-willful. So this whole presentation is based on you being non-willful. If you're willful, then you do the voluntary disclosure program. But if you're non-willful and you do quiet disclosure, well, now you've turned non-willful into willful. What does that mean? Well, at the time you didn't comply, you didn't know, you're non-willful. But now you go and you start filing past returns, or you start filing forward knowing what you're doing is improper. Well, now you've acted willfully. In addition, there's FATCA, which is the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. More than 110 countries and 300,000 foreign financial institutions proactively report U.S. account holders to the U.S. government, IRS, etc. So what does this mean to you? Well, here's the problem. Let's say you do a quiet disclosure, right? Or you just start filing, you close the accounts, you think nothing of it, it's 2 years later, and your foreign financial institution still reported you. Or you're under audit because you have a social security number and you haven't filed returns, and the IRS has information from 3 years ago showing that you had these open accounts and you're audited, right? You may think they don't know, but you may be sitting what's referred to as a reverse eggshell audit because the IRS already knows and they're seeing how you react to it. And if you knowingly misrepresent facts in the middle of that audit, it could actually lead to a special agent investigation. And despite all the ridiculous fear-mongering out there, that is a very common timeline, right? You have the accounts, oh shoot, I never reported them, so I close them. You go and you start filing. That foreign institution already reported you to the IRS just hadn't done anything yet. You now file returns, they see you didn't file in prior years, you're under audit, and you misrepresent the facts during the audit. that could be an issue. So if you're out of compliance, you may want to consider getting into compliance, either the Expat Streamlined Program if you qualify. If not, there's various other programs. There's the Voluntary Disclosure Program, VDP, Streamlined Domestic Offshore Procedures, which is similar to foreign, except it's for people who don't qualify as foreign residents. You can't file original returns, and there is a 5% penalty, which can be significant depending on your facts and circumstances. There's also alternatives. There's the reasonable cause and delinquency. Not really alternatives to streamlined foreign, because with streamlined foreign there's no penalty, but if you don't qualify, you can consider those other programs. We have lots of free information available on our main websites, goldinglawyers.com, and some other sub-websites depending on the topic. You can always reach out and schedule a reduced fee initial consultation if you think it's appropriate. Again, my name is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.